Welcome back to the Cricket Today podcast on Monday, January 8th. Excited for another huge week of cricket, lads. I'm your host, Leo McAllion, also known as the Stats Guy. I'm here with Marcus Bazzano. How was your weekend, Marcus?
Yeah, it was good. It was pretty eventful. The weather wasn't great, but at least we got to watch some cricket.
Yeah, absolutely. There's lots of cricket still on. We're also here with Leo Mullaly copying my shirt today. How you going?
Good, thanks, Stats Guy. And don't know about copying, but you can run with what you want.
Yeah, I don't know. If you were probably here first, I probably copied you. As we've talked about all summer, this is the best time of year. Close to the BBL finals now. It's really heating up in the Big Bash. We've got one test series wrapped up. That's the Australia versus Pakistan test series. And a lot going on in cricket, so we're absolutely loving it. Today, we're going to cover all things that have happened in that final test between Australia and Pakistan in Sydney. The 3 games over the weekend in the Big Bash, there's a couple of thrillers, especially last night's one. And as always, some intriguing one. Leo's cooked up another one. And some BBL predictions. We always love anything to do with BBL, a bit of SuperCoach, a bit of everything. So let's get right into it, lads. We'll start with the test recap of the SCG match between Australia versus Pakistan. Do you want to go through the scores and pretty much the second innings as we covered the first innings last week? Leo?
Well, I think last time we recorded, the game was on a knife's edge, wasn't it?
It was.
Pakistan did amazing to fight back. Jamal, I think, took another 5 or 6 for. He was incredible. And we thought, hang on, there's a game here to be had. But Pakistan just sort of crumbled, didn't they? And it was that over from Hazelwood that really sort of changed the game. I thought the wicket was pretty hard to bat on. And I thought a score of like a lead of 200, I thought would have been really competitive. But Pakistan weren't able to get that, and then the Aussies came out and batted with some positivity and aggression, and I think that really worked. If they got bogged down, it might have been a different story. So Aussies prevailed in the end. What'd you guys see of this game?
Yeah, I think you were right with it was really close, and then they just absolutely collapsed. I just wrote down the Ayub top score for them in the second innings, Pakistan, with just 33. So when your top score's 33, you're not going to go too well. Who stood out for the bowlers, Marcus?
Well, I just think obviously Hazelwood. I didn't realise that we spelt Hazelwood with 3 W's for his 3 wickets in the over. And Nathan Lyon also took 3 for as well, but Hazelwood was definitely the pick of the bowlers.
Yeah.
Which was good to see after, Pat Cummins shined a lot with the ball recently for Australia. So it's good to see someone else do that. But chasing it down, Warner and Marnus both with half centuries. So it was good to see Warner smash out 57 with a great reception. So overall, bit of a scare, but quality shines through and Australia triumph again and absolutely dominating on the World Test Championship table.
I know.
We're ahead by, what was it, about 30 points or something?
Yeah, that is ridiculous. We're just winning everything at the moment. I don't know. India's fallen behind. England's definitely fallen behind. So it's pretty good that the Aussies are going well. As you said, Warner finished off at 57. You love him or hate him. That's an awesome way to finish. He's been a legend. So I'm happy to see him get a 57. He got his baggy green back, as we touched on. It was just apparently in the airport or something. I don't know what was going on there. I swear I didn't steal it. I just put it back to where it was. I was going to sell it on Marketplace, but yeah, it wasn't too good. And Marnus, as you mentioned, was really good as well. Let's do a bit of a now. After this test match, a bit of news coming out, Leo.
So the now for today, should Steve Smith open the batting?
Oh,
what do you reckon?
You go, Marcus.
I'm not sure which way to go on this one. I'm gonna lean towards just because the only reason I was going to say no is because he hasn't been in the greatest of form. He doesn't look like he's got much confidence, and I think opening the batting is a tougher spot than coming in at 4.
Yep.
But I just had a quick look at Smith's test averages when he's come into bat after the first 1 to 2 overs. Ooh. He's got an average of 106. So. Wow. After coming in the first 2 overs, 6 innings, 3 hundreds, and a half century for 531 runs in 6 innings, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, really good stat. Good stat.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So if he wants to do it, he's very keen. Then by all means, give him the chance because we're pretty slim on that.
Yeah, he's got the stats to back it up. I'm going to say nah. I feel like for our future, he's a bit older, obviously now. I feel like for our future, I think we need to build a bit of another partnership or someone else coming up. I know Cam Green isn't as reliable, but I feel like giving him a go, even if it's just for a few months, just to test it out. Travis Head, I think especially this test series against the West Indies, who looked really poor, I feel like we could test a few things out. So I wouldn't mind seeing Cam Green, maybe Mitch Marsh, Travis Head, just someone else to change it up a little bit. Smith's been awesome at 4. And I know you had a really good stat there about him coming in early, but I just wouldn't mind seeing another younger guy come in, and so we'd know our plan for the future rather than sort of rely on the old guys as we have in the last couple of years. So I'm going to say no on that one, Leo. What do you reckon, Leo?
I'm skeptical, so I'm going to lead on no.
Mm-hmm.
For me personally, you've thrown up a few names. Marcus is backing him in. I'm throwing up Cam Bancroft's name.
Oh, yep.
I think he's been the leading run scorer at Shield level this season. He averages 56, and that's off. So he's hit 512 runs, and the second best has had 3 more innings than him. So I think he's in fantastic form. I'd like to see that rewarded, and I'd like to see that Shield players are getting rewarded, because I think that'll put more emphasis on the Shield competition, that if you perform well in that, then we'll see you eventually end up playing some test cricket. So I'm on board Bancroft to open. I'm also just skeptical that this is just Steve Smith being bored, and he's just like, I've already dominated this number 4 position.
What's the bat ball?
Yeah, get me up the order, because he is out of form. I also just think Marnus and Smith are the backbone of this batting order. So I don't know if changing it when it's working is a good idea, but look, there's definitely something there to work with.
Yeah, I'll agree on that one, Leo. It's just going to be tough to move the team around, but Steve Smith has been awesome, so it'll be a really interesting one where they go with that. Let's have a look at the Big Bash over the weekend. There's 3 pretty good matches, especially last night's one. So let's have a recap of the scores. Could you start off with the scores for the Strikers versus Scorchers, Leo, before we get into it a bit more?
Yeah, so the Strikers got their revenge, didn't they? I think we were all on the Scorchers, and I guess underperformed with the bat. But the matchup in this game was the Strikers batting versus Scorchers bowling. I think that's where both strengths lie for either side, and the Strikers won that battle pretty convincingly. Matt Short was excellent. He really set the tone. I think Chris Lynn was amazing. He's in some great form too, Chris Lynn, which I think's gone a bit unnoticed. But Strikers, they needed that win for their finals campaign, and I think they're definitely good enough to get on a roll. So that was an important win for them, and it was a really destructive win too. 4 overs left, chasing down 150, pretty destructive.
I might put a quick before I forgot to put that in, but will the Strikers make the finals from here? They are currently 6th. They've got a couple of games left, so they're behind the Hurricanes and the Stars at the moment. I think they could slip into 5th. What do you guys reckon? I'll start with you, Marcus.
I'm gonna go nah on this one. I think their bowling still needs a tiny bit of work. Although, as we've seen, if you've got a good batting lineup, you can definitely win games. So they could definitely get in a roll. They could definitely prove me wrong. I hope they do. But at the moment, I think they've possibly just left a little bit too late. And, if Matt Short goes out early, then I think, they're going to struggle to chase down the runs.
Yep. What do you reckon, Leo?
I think they'll overtake the Hurricanes. I like what the Stars have on offer.
Yep.
But just with the Hurricanes, I don't really think their batting is much chop. I know they chased down 150 against the Renegades, but that's the Renegades. Good job. Look, I think the Strikers have a lot more talent and depth than this Hurricanes team, so I think I can see them overtaking for sure. Yeah,
I agree, Leo. Strikers are only 1 point out. As Marcus just found out before the show, the Strikers are actually playing the Hurricanes in the last 2 games, so it could come down. You got 5th versus 6th there for their final 2 games. I think the Strikers could win both of those with the bet. I think they're the better team, as you mentioned. Just a better batting lineup that can make a bigger score. The Hurricanes relying on Chowdhury, especially last night. I don't trust them to make a big score, especially Tim David. I think he's only combined for under 50 runs under 60 runs for the whole season. Not trusting him at all at the moment and their batting lineup. So I think they're going to make finals from here. Let's move on to the Saturday night game, the Stars versus the Sixers. This was actually a really good game in the MCG. Can you go through the scores of that one, please, Leo?
Yeah, I was at this game, and I thought the pitch looked really good to bat on, and I thought a pass score would have been just over 180.
Yep.
So the Stars set a good platform. I thought Maxi changed the tempo of the game. But then I thought when Stoinis came in with Lawrence, the Sixers bowled beautifully. They used their changes of pace into the wicket.
Yep.
just Stoinis and I think Cartwright in the end just could not get going until like the last 2 overs. So it was a subpar score, and Sixers chased it down with ease. Todd Murphy was also excellent for the Sixers. He took 2 for 15 off his 4 overs, and then James Vince made an outstanding 79 not out off 57 balls.
Yeah, Who stood out for you, Marcus?
Yeah, James Vince for sure in that game. I think that's his 4th consecutive half century against the Melbourne Stars, I think.
Wow.
So he very much likes facing the Melbourne Stars. Scobo on his return, 2 for 38.
Yeah.
It will take those figures, but James Vince was definitely the standout for me in that game.
Nah, he was awesome. I feel like Vince is one of those guys I don't ever think about. I go, oh, yeah, he's all right. And then he's made already a couple of 50s. I think he probably made 3 50s in this tournament. He's just always solid at the T20, especially Big Bash. So, love watching him. And the Sixers are back up to second, which is pretty surprising when we were saying that, Scorchers and Heat were going to run away with it a bit. Scorchers have dropped off. They've obviously lost that game. Sixers aren't in amazing form, but they're up to second. So, they're always up there. As we mentioned at the start of the season, they're always finishing the top 2 to 3. So they'll make another push, I think, for the whole thing. Last night, I really wanted to get into this game. I watched this one. It was absolutely awesome. Came down to the last over. Bit of DLS as well, but the Heat versus Hurricanes. Leo, can you go through that one?
So the Heat batted first, put on 132, 7 wickets down. Munro stand out with the bat, 56 off 47 balls. And Chris Jordan was great with the ball too. And then it was sort of the Chowdhury show, wasn't it? There was 4 for 20 odd early, and Chowdhury just maturity for his age, outstanding. Very impressed by him and what he's done this Big Bash. I feel like the Big Bash is like that, just unearths like a cult figure every year. A couple of years ago it was Peter Hatzoglu, so there's a new one every year. So I'm excited for Chowdhury.
Yeah, Chowdhury was awesome. You talked him up, get him in your SuperCoach teams. I think Marcus started him as well. I forgot to put him back in my team. I was very filthy with that. I think the commentators were talking him up, and I was bagging him as I was watching the game. They was like, "Oh, they got the superstar Chowdhury." I was like, "I don't know about that. He's only played a few games, and he's just become on the list." And then he absolutely tore it up. He got a wicket with the ball. It was really solid, and then 55. But as we mentioned earlier, the Hurricanes batting lineup relying on Chowdhury, the young guy, compared to all the other guys who were much more experienced and couldn't hit the ball. Very disappointing from the Hurricanes. Who else stood out for you, Marcus?
Well, to be honest, obviously Tall Paul, he finished the game off really strong, didn't he? In that final over, I think they needed, was it 5 runs or 4 balls to win the game? There was a run out and then 3 singles to finish it off. So it's definitely exciting, and despite the DLS method coming in, but for me, I'm picking Chowdhury. He's my man. He was in my SuperCoach team.
Nice.
Do it with both bat and ball, and it was great to see a little bit of personality as well when he was on the mic for the game against the Renegades, I believe it was. So no, it was good for him.
He was on the mic last night actually as well. He's ordering these. They call them the Hurricanes. If you got a gold chain and you play for the Hurricanes, you're in the Hurricanes group chat apparently. So he's got a big chain. The biggest chain is Chris Jordan, and apparently he's ordered a new gold chain from India to outdo Jordan. So I was like, I don't know. Chris Jordan has a bit more swagger than Chowdhury, I reckon. But he's ordered a new one.
He does know that there are jewelry shops in Australia as well.
I don't know. I got no idea. They were talking about it on the coverage last night. He's very funny, Chowdhury, and he was just so cool and comfortable and just talking, and then he was backing it up with his batting. So I was happy that he made a big score as well. I'll just quickly touch on it as well. Bartlett got 3 for 30. I think he's back to the leading wicket taker in the competition. So everyone was talking up Spencer Johnson. Obviously, Johnson got that big IPL contract that we mentioned on this podcast a couple of weeks ago. Bartlett is definitely outshone Spencer Johnson in this tournament. He's been absolutely awesome. Was on a hat trick in the first over as well. First 2 balls, he got 2 wickets. So he was absolutely awesome. The Heat, their bowling attack, I feel like they could defend any score. If they make 100, they're going to still defend it. Their bowling attack is awesome. And they're clearly on top of the ladder now, still undefeated. It's their longest winning streak in their history. So they're going really well.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
I think that they got three bowlers inside the top 10 for wickets.
Really?
So, yeah.
Jeez. That is awesome. I feel like they get close to bowling out sides just every match. They're so good. All right, let's finish off with my favourite part of the SuperCoach segment and a bit of a BBL preview for the Thunder vs Scorchers game tonight. Let's have a Supercoach pick. Who's definitely has to be picked for this week's Supercoach, Leo?
Well, if you like me, I've said the entire Scorchers bowling lineup.
Wow.
Well, I went this last game and it kind of failed because the one bowler I left out was Lance Morris.
I know.
And he was the only one that really took wickets. But the Scorchers bowling lineup doesn't really have two sort of or three bad games in a row. So they've got a double.
Yep.
I think, they'll bounce back. If you want a specific pick, I think it's that man, Lance Morris, 179,000, took 5 for 24 2 games ago. Really, their only threatening bowler against the Strikers on both occasions. So, yeah, he's in great form. I'd be on him. But, yeah, at the moment, my Supercoach team is in the bowling positions, every Scorchers bowler.
Really?
Except Ashton Agar. So if he takes Pfeiffer, then I might delete the app if he takes Pfeiffer.
Oh, don't pick Ashton Agar. I've had him in my team, and for some reason I haven't traded him out. He has been horrible. In terms of his role in the team, he's got a lot of dot balls, but yeah, don't pick him in Supercoach. He's not getting wickets and he's not getting runs, and he's not getting catches. He's not doing anything. So don't pick Ashton Agar. That's my tip. Who's your one, Marcus?
Well, I'll just back you up on that Ashton Agar thing. I've dropped him to my bench.
I should have.
I haven't traded him out, unfortunately, as well. So, but for my Supercoach pick, I'm going to go Josh Inglis here. He had an excellent game last time out. Scored 125. He's gone up in price. He's 161,900 at the moment. But considering the Scorchers have the double header, he's in good form with the bat. He's got the most wicketkeeper dismissals so far in the BBL of any wicketkeeper. So we'll get those fielding points. So I think Josh Inglis as a wicketkeeper, if you're going to pick someone for the wicket-keeping slot, Josh Inglis would be my number one.
Nice. Yeah. We're all going Scorchers here, but I might quickly touch on my man Dan Sams for the Thunder. He had a bad start to the BBL 13, but he's definitely bounced back. He's got a couple of 50s, got a couple of fourthers. I really think, if you're going to pick anyone for the Thunder, or if you have to put someone in your team for the Thunder, has to be Dan Sams. 224,300. So he's the third top scorer in Big Bash this season. So I think he's a really good pick.
And he's got the second most wickets as well.
There you go.
Big Bash this season. So
yeah. He's doing a bit of everything. He's awesome. I feel like he's a very underrated player. But my main pick, and I think he's a bit more value than Dan Sams, is Andrew Tye. You know what you're going to get every single season from AJ Tye. He's their leading wicket taker, the Scorchers of all time. Averages 59 Supercoach against the Thunder. I think that's more than any other of his opponents. Loves getting wickets against them. You can check out his Instagram before every game. He wears the flashy socks and he backs it up with his Yorkers, slower balls, slow ball bounces. He literally has it all. He's the perfect T20 player. And he's sort of one of those players where I feel like that's why he hasn't progressed in other formats, just because he's such a gun in T20. So 159,700, bit more value there, and I think he's going to get at least a 3-for against the Thunder tonight. So that's my Supercoach pick. All right, lads, let's finish off with a prediction. I think it's going to be a bit obvious, but the Thunder versus Scorchers, who are you going, Leo?
Tipping the Scorchers in this one. Thunder haven't really impressed me this tournament, and I think it's going to be similar to Strikers versus Scorchers, where Thunder need to win this to sort of get their season rolling a bit, but Scorchers, they don't often lose 2 in a row, do they? So I'll back them in.
Yep, you agree, Marcus?
Yeah, Leo just hit the nail on the head there. The Thunder played the least amount of games, only 6 games, and you'd think they'd have to win every single one of them to make finals, but I don't see it happening against the Scorchers, so plain and simple for me.
Yeah. I think we're all in agreement here. The Scorchers, they're going to bounce back. Like you said, Leo, they've very, very rarely lose 2 in a row. They've been absolutely awesome, absolute powerhouse. When they lose, it's pretty close. And I think, the Thunder, don't trust their batting lineup. Even their sort of international guys like Hales, a few other guys haven't really stepped up. So I don't trust the Thunder against anyone other than the Renegades at the moment. You got, I think, they're second last of the Renegades. Yeah. So I think the 7th and 8th of the Thunder and Renegades is going to stay there, especially, the way the Thunder are going at the moment. All right, I think that's it for today, lads. Cricket Today. We'll be back with this tomorrow, so get right around the show. Subscribe on your podcast apps, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. Like and review it, would ya? Chuck a follow to Cricket Today and Cricket Today RU all over the socials. That's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X. Send in any questions via the socials, anything you want us to chat to us about. We love the arguments in the comments. That's also happening on Football Today. Check out the Football Today podcast on the Spotify and Apple as well, on all the socials. Also, Football Today RU or Football Today Pod. I think that's it. Thank you, Marcus.
Cheers, Stats guy.
Thanks, Leo.
Cheers, Stats boy.
Thanks, Joe, for producing. Thanks to me. That's another episode of Cricket Today done. We're out.